And I'd like to thank the great folks here at MaGerk who were able to help us put this together and help us in producing our first anniversary show, Sidekick. We've had some great food here.
Yep.
Terrific place. It's enormous, as you can see and hear from all the things going on behind us. So we want to thank them. We want to thank all of our friends and fans who have come out and supported us this evening on this, our first anniversary show. 53 weeks in a row we've been going. Exactly 1 year ago tonight we did the very first show. It is so hard to believe, actually. And make no mistake, Sidekick, bar none, that makes us the most consistent internet-based sports talk show out there, all right? And with 8,300 views, we just went over 8,300 views just today. We are the fastest growing as well.
Now, Mike, just 1 second.
Sure.
Did you say we were at MaGerk's in Fort Washington?
MaGerk's in Fort Washington.
Okay.
That's where we are.
MaGerk's in Fort. Okay.
MaGerk's. Everybody got it? Yes.
In Fort Washington,
in
Pennsylvania.
Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. Listen, we got a lot of special announcements and a lot of fun stuff planned for our anniversary show here this evening. And to add to all that excitement, Sidekick, just as happened last year on this very night a year ago, all that excitement is added to by the fact that, hey, the NFL kicked up last night.
Yes, football time, it's back.
And we're going to have a lot of football talk. We're going to have a lot of football talk this evening. But before we get to the NFL Sidekick, we got to go over, because we've got one final race left in the regular season here with NASCAR.
Yep.
And that's coming up on Saturday night. That's the final race of the regular season before they go into the 10-week playoff, which is called the Chase. Now, last Sunday down in Atlanta Motor Speedway, Denny Hamlin got his second win in a row, and he became the first driver all season long to secure 4 wins for the entire season.
Yep.
Others who came in the top 5 last Sunday included Jeff Gordon, who just can't seem to get it together. Things just aren't coming together for him at the right time. He came in second. Brad Keselowski came in third with his 10th. That was his 10th top 5 finish of the season. Martin Truex came in the top 5 again in 4th, and Kevin Harvick came in 5th. And so one race just remaining. The Sprint Cup leaderboard at this point looks like this. Greg Biffle stays at the top with 879 points. Dale Jr. now moves back into the second spot with 871. Matt Kenseth drops down to the third spot with 855. Jimmy Johnson moves down to number 4 with 848. And Martin Truex maintains his number 5 spot there with 838 points. And so on Saturday night, which will be the final race, that moves down to that 3-quarter track down there in Richmond. That'll be covered, Richmond International Raceway. That'll be covered at 7 o'clock on ABC. And all eyes, it seems to me now at this point, Sidekick, are on the wild card. And the question marks have to be clearly hung on people like Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, and Carl Edwards. And where do you think that might all end up, and how's it going to play out by the time we end on Saturday night?
Well, right now you've got Casey Kane and Kyle Busch sitting in the wild card seats. They're going to a track that Kyle Busch is awesome at.
Right.
But Jeff Gordon has had success here before. He's only 12 points behind Kyle Busch. With a win, that will cement him into the chase, into a wild card spot, and knock Kyle out. Now, he's only 12 points behind, so he can conceivably finish 12 positions ahead of Kyle in the race and still get in. But he's got to watch out for Marcus Ambrose, Ryan Newman, and Joey Logano, because if they get a win...
Do you really think that they have a shot going into the last race?
I don't think they'll win, but if they could win, they would bump them. Yeah. They would move up. Right. So, it's going to be tight.
NASCAR couldn't ask for anything better than to have it come down to the very last race of the season and still have so many question marks, particularly down there at the bottom. I think it's fabulous stuff. Now, how's this all going to affect any kind of fantasy strategies, Sidekick, as we go into the last race of the regular season?
Well, for fantasy, as I switch my notes here, for fantasy, you're going to want to definitely watch Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has, since 2009, has 4 wins over 7 races, and he's never finished worse than 6th.
Right.
okay? You're also going to want to look at Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, when Busch wins, is usually second. But otherwise, he's the one winning. It seems like the two of them since 2009, it's been either Denny Hamlin or Kyle Busch.
Right.
Also, you want to look at Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer has an average finish of 10th place, and he's one of the hottest drivers over the last 6 races. Also, you're going to want to look at Junior. Junior's not out of it. He's got a shot to win this. He's got 3 wins at Richmond, and he's finished second in the spring race.
Right.
So, and then I'm going to throw in Jeff Gordon, because Jeff Gordon's hungry. I mean, he let a prime opportunity go last week by not bumping Hamlin and taking that win. And he kind of alluded to it in his interview, saying, I've softened in my old age.
Yep.
Because if this was a couple years ago, I'd have bumped him and took the win.
Yeah.
So, Jeff Gordon right now is kicking himself because he may miss the chase because he didn't bump Hamlin last week.
Denny Hamlin, though, 3 weeks in a row, really? I mean, I don't know.
It's possible.
When was the last time that happened?
Denny runs really good at this track.
Yeah.
It's possible he could pull off another win.
All right.
So it's going to be a good race to watch.
There's our NASCAR stuff, folks, and we're going to be coming back to you. And, of course, by next week at this time, it's all going to change, and we're going to be following the playoffs as we go into the chase.
Yep.
So it's going to get really interesting from that point forward. But let's go over now, and let's talk about what everybody here has been waiting for, what everybody here at MaGerk has been waiting to talk about, what all of our friends and fans have been waiting to talk about, Sidekick, and that's NFL football.
Are you ready for some football?
All right. And listen, the season opened last night with the NFC East rivalry between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. And the Giants, going into that game, were a 3.5-point favorite. But the Cowboys won it by 7 points, 24-17. Tony Romo, of all people, threw for 307 yards, had 3 TDs. But I guess the big surprise last evening really had to be their wide receiver, Kevin Ogletree, who had 8 receptions and 2 TDs. Now, personally, I thought the Cowboys' defense looked very, very good. I thought they looked much improved over what I had seen in the previous years. Any thoughts on the game from last night, real quick?
Did you see DeMarco Murray?
Yeah.
That dude, he's going to be this year's beast mode.
He's a monster, isn't he?
My God. Holy wow. And then Ogletree. We were sitting there in the chat on Fan Junkies in the middle of the third quarter. He was on the waiver wire. I went and picked him up for my fantasy team.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
He could be this year's Victor Cruz. I mean, where did this guy come from?
Less from you there, Sidekick. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it just like we did last season. We picked out a couple of key games, just like we did last year, and we're going to be making our picks on those as we go through the season, and we're going to be keeping track of how we do on our picks all through it. Now, we're only going to pick them on a head-to-head basis. So let's start it off tonight, Sidekick, we've got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Chicago Bears. They're going to be at Chicago. That's a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. And this matchup, Sidekick, premieres the #1 draft pick, the NFL's #1 draft pick, Andrew Luck, who will be going under center for the first time for the Colts up against that tough Bears defense. The Bears are favored by 9.5. What do you make of it?
Well, it's not the old Indianapolis Colts that we remember under Peyton Manning. I mean, you can't even say that they took Peyton out and put Andrew Luck in, because last season they just disassembled the team. There's hardly anybody there that people recognize. So this is a complete new setup with Luck going into a tough Chicago matchup. I'm going with the Bears to win this one.
Yeah, one of the concerns that I've heard expressed is not so much about the Indy offense, but more about the Indy defense. That's really where the concerns are. Frankly, I think the 9.5-point spread is a little bit high. I don't know if I would take the number on it, but I agree with you. I'll take the Bears.
The Bears.
Let's go over and take a look at another 1 o'clock game on Sunday, and that's the Washington Redskins down at the New Orleans Saints. This is our second matchup that highlights now the NFL's #2 draft pick, and Robert Griffin III, RG3. Going up against now the post-Bounty Gate penalized and sanctioned New Orleans Saints. Despite the fact the Saints are missing their head coach and a few players, they're by 7 points in this game, Sidekick. What do you got on it?
Well, you got RG3 making, like Andrew Luck. We got another rookie quarterback, trying to see which one of these guys are going to come out and be the next Cam Newton.
Right.
But RG3 is going down to the dome there in New Orleans, and he's going to have to endure all that crowd noise.
Yep.
And a team that's trying to come out and prove themselves post Bountygate now.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a tough matchup for RG3. It'll be interesting to watch how he reacts in this game, but I'm going with the Who Dat to pick this one off.
Of the 2 rookie quarterbacks that I have taken a look at so far in Luck and in RG3 in the preseason, I have been frankly more impressed with Andrew Luck than I have been with RG3. Of course, I have said all along that I frankly think that RG3 is going to need a year under his belt before we actually see what kind of a quarterback he possibly will be.
Right.
Andrew Luck is more ready, I think, to play right now than RG3. Take the Saints on this game. Take the Saints.
Now, from a fantasy perspective, though, Andrew Luck is your typical quarterback. He's gonna, not going to be a lot of leg work, a lot of passing. RG3, though, I think has huge potential fantasy value because he's going to be like Cam Newton. He's going to get it on his legs. He's going to make those. He's going to score the touchdowns on his own with his legs. He's going to be throwing it in the air.
That's true.
So it'll be interesting to see from a fantasy perspective how he does this year.
Good point. How about a 4 o'clock game? 4:25 on Sunday afternoon. San Francisco Giants at the Green Bay Packers. And I got to tell you something, you couldn't ask for a much better Week 1 matchup than this one, Sidekick. I got to be honest, it was a tough one. It's a tough one to pick. You got that tough 49ers defense heading into Lambeau Field to take on Aaron Rodgers and company, a Green Bay team that really was not very good defensively last year. Green Bay is a 5-point pick on this one. Thoughts?
Well, can you say playoff football Week 1?
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow. We're talking about the Niners and the Packers Week 1. This could be a preview of the NFC. But, we've got Alex Smith, who, if I remember correctly last year, you labeled fraud.
I still might.
And the stingy defense of the Niners going up against one of the most prolific scorers in recent history that I can remember.
Right.
And the best part about it is Green Bay in the offseason has made their defense better. So this really is shaping up to be an awesome game.
I agree.
So
I think it's probably one of the best ones on the lineup the whole weekend.
I think I'm going to go with the home team, and I'm going to go with the Pack on this one.
You're going with the Pack, and yes, I'm going with the Pack as well. Let's sneak this one in here because it looks like we're going to have a couple of minutes. Let's sneak this one in here, Sidekick.
Sure.
I'm going to go back to a 1 o'clock game on Sunday, which I find rather interesting and compelling, and that's the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. All right, we've got the new era coming in with the New York Jets. We've got a Wildcat formation that Rex Ryan has already promised us that we're going to see against Buffalo with the installation of Tim Tebow. The New York Jets are favored to win in this game by 3. Buffalo started out really well, if you recall, in the beginning of the season last year. Could they get the same kind of start again this year?
Well, I just want to say, for our wrestling fans out there, it's time. It's time. It's Tebow time. All right? I'm going, and to fan junkies, Jonathan Ragus, I'm sorry, bro. Sanchez falls on his face. The Bills take this. We'll see Tebow starting next week.
Don't know if I can agree with that one. Jonathan, I'm taking the Jets on this one. Let's go and take a look at a Sunday night game. And this one, I think, is really interesting. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Denver Broncos. And wow, I got to tell you, yesterday I had to sit and analyze this one for about 45 minutes prior to doing the Fan Junkies radio show with Jonathan Regas, and where both of us, we went right down the list and we picked every single game that's being played this weekend. And I had to look at this one upside down and backward before I could come up with something. Denver, one word I've got for Denver, Peyton Manning. Pittsburgh, one word.
sorry, Mike, that's 2 words. Peyton Manning, 2 words.
Arithmetic. Isn't that what Bill Clinton said last night? No. Anyhow.
I don't know. I was watching football. I don't know about you. I wasn't watching it.
One word for Pittsburgh. Defense, and that is 1 word. All right. Denver on this one, Sidekick, is favored to win by only 1.5 points. Now that's a Steelers line on the road.
Yep.
This one is going to test your picking capabilities. Go ahead and let's see where you go on this.
Well, you know, it's funny. Brandon and I were talking pre-show for about like 20 minutes about this matchup. And you look at it and you're like, Big Ben, Mike Wallace, Peyton Manning, Demetrius Thomas, and it's in Denver. You're looking at it. It's a rematch from last year's playoffs.
Yep.
And it's almost too close to call on this, right?
Wow.
So
that's what the line's saying.
So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, we're talking. I say, you know what? It's this close. I'm going to give it to Denver on Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning, if you're going to come down to, the end of the game, nail biter, Peyton's going to pull this out. I don't have the faith in Big Ben.
I'm going to tell you, I got Peyton on my fantasy team this year. Peyton, I'm rooting for you. I'm picking Denver as well.
Yep, I'm going with the Bronx.
Okay, listen.
Oh, I'm sorry. And we bring it back. You saw it last season. It's back this season. That game is my bomb diggity bomb pick of the week.
There it is.
Almost let that one slip away. It's preseason. It's like the refs.
Pick it, folks.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
Yep. Okay, listen, those are our highlighted NFL games for this week, and we'll be updating those picks as we go through the entire season, just like we did last year. And we'll let you know how we fared on those next week, and we'll do it again. We'll pick up a whole bunch of other highlighted games for week 2. Now, we mentioned numerous times now that it was exactly 1 year ago this evening that we brought you the first episode of this show.
Yes, it has.
And so we thought we would take this celebratory opportunity to make another kind of big announcement.
Yes, huge, enormous.
It is big because it's been something that you and I kind of conceived in our minds about way back in January.
Yep.
And we started working on it in earnest, I guess, in late July and late June and early July. We've had our Facebook page going for 2 years now. We've had this show going for a year.
We've been doing the social media thing and Twitter and all that stuff.
And I am very, very pleased to announce tonight we now have our own webpage. www.frathousesports.net will be a national all-sport reporting website. All of our videos will be up on there. We have a couple of writers working for us already. We're writing articles on the NFL and on the NHL. I'll be writing it for it. You'll be writing for it. We're going to be writing on this constantly, and it just gives us another outlet out there. And what we want you to do is you got to get over there. You got to tell all your friends about it. Support that for us as greatly as you've supported us here with this show. Please, that would be fabulous.
Yep, the evolution continues.
Yes, it does. And since I'm talking websites, I just want to throw out a couple of reminders. Don't forget our partners over there at fanjunkies.net. That is growing by leaps and bounds. I saw my good friend Trish. She jumped in there just yesterday. We really appreciate that. Trish was instrumental in helping us get, where are we? We're at MaGerk
in Fort Washington,
Pennsylvania. And she was instrumental in helping us get this location. And we thank her for that. We thank the wonderful folks here at MaGerk. Also, since I'm bringing up Fan Junkies, you gotta follow Jonathan Ragus and I on Fan Junkies Radio. That started last week. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live from 1 to 1:30 on blogtalkradio.com. Get over there, check that out, or just go to our Facebook page and you'll get the link for it. Our fifth show for Fan Junkies, by the way, will be on Friday, so that'll be tomorrow. Finally, despite the fact that we now have the new Frat House Sports.net website, I will continue to be writing for Philly Sports Live. So do me a favor and do the guys over continue to follow me, continue to follow them, and the things that we do over there. So that's those are our shout outs and our reminders for this week.
There we go.
Here we go. Well, we got the. There we go. We got to make the wish.
Hey, you guys blowing.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
There we go.
You want to just leave it there?
I'll leave it.
Yeah. All right. Now,
That's good.
in the meantime, we want to give many, many thanks to all of our friends and fans who showed up here, to Patty and to Tom, to Mark over there.
Yep.
All right. And to all of our friends around the site. Mark came all the way from northern New Jersey just to be here with us tonight. And where are we? We're at MaGerk's in Fort Washington.
Washington.
Yeah. And we got to give a final thank you to all of them. They have just been wonderful here to us, and we thank them. What a terrific setup. All right. Finally, I got one more thing you need to do for us this year, and I think you know what that is. You got to keep us real. You got to keep us live. You got to keep us going. We'll see you next week.
Trying to pick up the first down, and we'll see where they spot it. Cowboys just do get the snap off. And Romo slings it to the outside, and that's Ogletree making the catch, but a beautiful tackle there by Michael Coe. Cowboys with all of their timeouts, and this is Ogletree. Romo flushed out of the pocket. Romo throwing on the run, wide open and making the catch. Ogletree, touchdown Cowboys.